Hello everyone, welcome to Chippy and Chill, the anime podcast, the weekly anime and manga podcast where each week I discuss a different topic and dive into the details, facts, history and more of the series you and I both love. I'm your host Ryan. Last week it was all about Yu-Gi-Oh! And the darker beginnings that manga and anime both had, and I was quite shocked to learn about the more horror style beginnings of Yu-Gi-Oh! And kind of see how the journey it took to transform into the world's best-selling card game and the icon of 2000s and 90s and 2000s anime and manga that it is today, and the success that it is today as well. So this week I wanted to kind of continue that slightly darker theme and take a look at what the anime and manga community often called the Dark Trio of Shōnen. So there's a few points before we dive into today's episode. So all of my social media links can be found in the show notes for each episode. On there you'll find a whole bunch of anime related content alongside the podcast, such as behind the scenes stuff, product unboxings and more. Go check it out, go find me on there. If you can't find the links, if you search Chibi Weeb Anime, you'll find me over on everything. From today, Friday 21st, until the Sunday, all of my Chainsaw Man and Jujutsu Kaisen prints will have a 20% off on my Etsy shop to kind of tie in with the themes, and you'll find out why as we go through the show. And also, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, check out the Apple exclusive weekly anime and manga news podcast series I do as well. So Chibi Piece exclusive, and new episodes release every Sunday, and I discuss the top 5 news stories for anime and manga for the past week, along with some mini highlights, and also a new weekly anime recommendation for you to check out. It's only on Apple Podcasts, guys. Check it out. It's a weekly series where we go through all the anime and manga news, because we get so much news all the time. Definitely check it out. Without further ado, let's dive into the Dark Trio of Shōnen. So to kick off the Dark Trio of Shōnen episode, I thought it'd be good to kind of get a rough idea, or at least start off with what is Shōnen to begin with. If you're new to anime and manga, there are quite a few jargon words and categorization words. There's a lot of jargon that floats around the community, and I thought, for anyone that doesn't know, let's start off with what is Shōnen. So Shōnen media usually features male protagonists who embark on an action-packed adventure, battles or quests, often in fantastical or sci-fi settings, so slightly more otherworldly settings. So these stories frequently explore themes such as friendship, perseverance, heroism and coming of age. And the action sequences are often intense. There's a lot of battles, a lot of fights. There's usually a heavy focus on martial arts, superpowers, or some kind of special ability. And one kind of feature of Shonen is that Shonen anime traditionally feature a tournament story arc somewhere in the lineup of episodes. Or sometimes it actually makes up quite a lot of the story arc itself. They often also have quite lively characters, quite bold characters. And one anime, we're going through a few examples later on, but one strong example of this is My Hero Academia. That anime is quite a quintessentially through and through shonen anime with quite traditional tropes, character arcs, and the tournaments that we see quite often, and a lot of battles that we see from My Hero Academia. It's quite quintessentially shonen through and through. But shonen has become one of the most quintessential or most iconic arcs or genres of anime. So I think this is the genre of anime that people immediately think about when anime is mentioned, or when they think of anime. Maybe if you're not a fan, I think without knowing, this is the genre that people think about. And it's these series that often become the most iconic anime series ever. So some examples of shonen anime and manga. So we've got My Hero Academia, we just mentioned that. We've got Naruto, Dragon Ball, One Piece, Attack on Titan, Hunter x Hunter, or Hunter x Hunter, however you want to say that. Bleach, Demon Slayer, and ones such as Assassination Classroom as well. There are so many more. The shonen genre is massive. It's such a big genre, and with some of the titles, you'll see that some of those are, or all of them, are massive, massive titles. They're ones that people know of. Even if you don't really follow anime and manga, people have heard of Dragon Ball, Naruto, One Piece, and it's these series that I think are always great as the introductions to anime as well and to other genres. I think these are the anime that allow people to really dive into other series, and it's these series that a lot of the time came through to the West in the 2000s and became so iconic and introduced anime to the West. So from that small list alone, you can quickly see that most of the most popular anime series out there at the minute are actually shonen series. And there were some that I was a little bit surprised to see on the shonen list. Attack on Titan, I wouldn't immediately class as a shonen series, but it does make sense. A lot of the tropes are there. A male protagonist goes through a journey, that kind of stuff. But for a series to be shonen, it doesn't have to stick to the concrete tropes and stuff, and we'll see how some series dive away from that a little bit later on. But I think it's worth mentioning, there is also an aged up version of shonen, which is Seinen, or Seinen, Seinen. And whereas shonen series often feature characters with an idealized, naive, well, not naive, but kind of fresh-faced and innocent view of the world, Seinen series usually follow protagonists who face a reality where the hero doesn't always save the day, which sounds very bleak. It sounds very depressing, doesn't it? It's not as depressing as it sounds. I think it's more mature, I guess, in the sense, and the character traditionally maybe goes through more of a harder experience, a harder time, and they get a bit more of a thick skin and that kind of stuff. That kind of vibe about the Seinen series. They're worth checking out. They're traditionally seen as more 18 plus. I don't think they're rude. I don't think they're inappropriate or rude. They're just more mature than a shonen series traditionally is. There is also, last point before we dive into the Dark Trio properly, there is the traditionally more what is known as the female side of, or more female aesthetic side of anime, which is called Shōjo. So we've got Shonen, which is the more male protagonist kind of stuff, and then we've got the female protagonist side, which is Shōjo, which traditionally with anime focuses a lot more on the romance side and slice of life kind of anime. So I think we will do an episode on that a little bit later on, but I think it's good to get a bit of a overview of the different types of anime that are out there that follow the same kind of categorization. So the Dark Trio of Shōnen is the name given to 3 series that have a darker theme compared to others in the shonen genre. So things like One Piece, Naruto don't particularly have a dark theme. They have maybe dark undertones. There's quite a... I think I'll dive into that in another episode as well, but they don't have a dark theme compared to these 3. So the 3 series that this trio has been given by the fandom are Chainsaw Man, Jujutsu Kaisen, and Hell's Paradise. And Hell's Paradise is the latest and final manga series from the Dark Trio that has finally been turned into an anime adaptation. And so far we have 3 episodes in that series. I'll speak about that a little bit later on. It's just amazing. And the series is based around Gabimaru, an unkillable assassin who is tasked with finding an elixir that will grant the shogunate a similar kind of immortality. Then next came Jujutsu Kaisen, another spooky shonen series. This is one of my absolute favourite anime series, with the protagonist Yuji. He joins an occult club at school, only to discover that the members are actually sorcerers, where he becomes entangled with a demonic presence. He is forced to ward off the evil seeking him out, protecting his friends while starving off his own inevitable death. And lastly, the final one in this series, or the Dark Trio should I say, is Chainsaw Man, set in an alternative history where devils run rampant in the world, and when he's killed by the Yakuza, main character Denji is bonded with his pet devil Pachita, we love Pachita, becoming the body horror hero Chainsaw Man. So all of these series you can see have a slightly more darker turn of events from the outset. They're quite more focused on something happening to the character, or a lot more gory than normal shonen series. And all these anime are adapted by the same studio, Studio Mappa. And Mappa, I'm sure you've heard of them if you're listening to this and you're into a lot of anime. If you watch a lot of anime, you'll know Mappa, or you'll at least know their work. And if you haven't, Mappa are they've definitely made a name for themselves as one of the best studios for anime and anime production, and their latest series are a huge testament to that. So Mappa have, of recent times, become known for headline series, headline content, headline anime, such as Jujutsu Kaisen, Chainsaw Man, and especially the final season of Attack on Titan since they took over. And they're known for creating these absolute juggernauts of anime and making content that is super high quality. And I think of recent, they've, especially series such as Chainsaw Man, Attack on Titan, and Hell's Paradise, all three of those, they've chosen openings and OPs that are so catchy, very kind of listenable in the day-to-day, and create these opening scenes and opening credits for the anime series that are just breathtaking. The amount of detail and hype and kind of lore behind the Chainsaw Man opening credits was amazing. There's so many pop culture references in that one, I think, 2 or 3 minute opening credit scene for the song and the titles and stuff. It's just a piece of art on its own. It's so strong, and I think we're seeing the same again with Hell's Paradise. Hell's Paradise, that opening credit for that anime has just become a breathtaking piece of work. Like, I'll never ever skip a Mappa piece opening credits. I just think that on its own, they put so much effort into that one area of the anime, and I think that shows some of their dedication to anime and to the industry itself and to us as fans. But each of the Dark Trio anime series, in my opinion, are just top class anime, and all three have become quickly after their first few episodes. I didn't even need to do the traditional 3-episode trial with these episodes. I was hooked from the first one, and some of them are returning this season. So in July, Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2 airs, and I cannot wait for that series. And Hell's Paradise is only 3 episodes in, and I am absolutely hooked. I am waiting for Saturday for the next episode. And I've already spoke about the opening credits, but the animation alone is just gorgeous. And again, it stands testament to, I don't know what the budgets are for Mappa and their episodes, but it must be so high. And the storytelling and the characters draw you back every Saturday for the newest episode. And that's something that I think special studios just know how to do. And there's also the Shonen Big Three, and the Dark Trio isn't to be confused with the Shonen Big Three. And I think the Big Three is one of those things that will continuously shift. But at the moment, at the time of this recording, the Big Three refers to the very long, big, popular anime and manga series that is currently held by One Piece, Naruto, and Bleach. Those, again, are ones that started off in the 2000s and were helped bring the popularity and awareness of anime over to the West. So the Dark Trio of anime are great examples of what anime and manga shonen series can be. And not that shonen series have to be something preppy and nice and fun and light and airy. I think these 3 series have specifically gone down a very dark path compared to traditional series such as My Hero Academia, that kind of Naruto, that kind of stuff. There's a specific aesthetic change in these with their tones, language, and overall kind of artwork. When we look at the traditional shonen tropes and stereotypes, such as the happy and enthusiastic vibe that the protagonist has and the journey of self-discovery that they end up going on, the Dark Trio share a sort of cynicism and challenge that traditional stereotype. And it's that shared cynicism and vibe that mean that these 3 series have been kind of grouped together by the fandom and have earned themselves the name the Dark Trio. It's worth noting as well that the animation and the storytelling in these series is often quite a bit more gory than normal shonen. So especially we'll start off with Hell's Paradise as a prime example. The very first episode of Hell's Paradise is very gory from the outset. We see, I won't go into too much detail in case you're kind of squeamish, but we see the main character go through these assassination attempts where the blood is very graphic, and all of these cuts and stuff are very graphic in their attempts. And that is something that we don't really see in normal shonen. We don't see it in One Piece. We don't really see things like that. Nothing to that kind of extent or that kind of detail or level. And the same with Chainsaw Man. That kind of name alone should kind of give a hint that this is going to be a slightly darker tone and more gory tone. And we see that quite continuously with Chainsaw Man, and the darker tone that is shown. Even the animation style itself is shown to be a little bit more subdued. The colours are a little bit more kind of darker and grittier and grimier, and it's a perfect representation of the story itself and the characters themselves. I think if you're looking to explore a more darker shonen anime, it's these series that you should start with. And it's hard to say which one to start first, but if you're wanting a little bit less gore and a little bit less blood to kind of ease you in, and not to say that there isn't any, there is some, but nothing, it kind of goes up in levels, I guess. So I would recommend starting with Jujutsu Kaisen, and then working into Chainsaw Man, and then Hell's Paradise. I think all three of them I can't recommend them highly enough. They're such good series, and I think diving in now while the series are fairly fresh, especially Hell's Paradise, especially Chainsaw Man, where there's only one series of one and 3 episodes of another, these are the perfect time to dive in, because I think MAPPA is just going to plow resource into these series. They've received such a high praise and such a good reception from the community of anime and manga fans that there's no reason that they wouldn't throw a load of resource into this. There's already rumours of a Chainsaw Man movie coming out rumoured for 2024, 2025. There's not a lot out there. I've really tried to find it for the anime and manga news series episode a couple of weeks ago, and I couldn't find anything apart from one post that kind of shared some insight into that there's rumours of a Chainsaw Man movie. So diving into these series now would be the perfect time. With them having the name the Dark Trio, there is a natural question of what if there's another dark series from Shonen that goes down these similar routes? Do they become the Dark Quartet? That's just weird. Or the Dark Four? That's kind of cool. I wonder how many series will we see that go down a more darker route. I hope there are more. I think these do the themes so much justice. And yes, I might be biased because I absolutely love the series, but I wonder how many others are in the works right now and are working towards seeing the success of these ones, and how many are going to also go down this route, because it's an absolute winner of a theme. But trust me, if you're looking to get into shonen or a dark side of shonen, try out these series. You will not be disappointed. They're so good. Check them out. Find me on social media if you've watched the first 2 episodes, if you haven't seen them already. Let me know if you enjoyed them. Let me know how far you get into them before you're absolutely hooked. Thank you for joining me on this week's episode of Chibi and Chill the Anime podcast. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've learned something. I definitely have. Down in the show notes, you'll find links to all of my Etsy shops, my social media, and more. My Etsy shop is full of anime merch illustrated by me. Chibi style artwork that's cute and features a range of merch, including phone cases, prints, and much more coming very soon. And on there, you'll find anime characters from a bunch of your favourite series, including Sailor Moon, Attack on Titan, Black Clover, Demon Slayer, Jujutsu Kaisen, and much more. Be sure to follow the shop on Etsy and you'll be notified of every behind the scenes photo, every sale, and every new product launch. If you're a mega fan of anime, then why not check out my brand new Patreon monthly subscription club. There are 3 tiers of membership: Chibi Fan, Chibi Super Fan and Chibi Mega Fan, with each tier being better than the last. Each month, for one cost, you'll receive free prints, free downloads and much more, including exclusive behind the scenes videos, photos and more of how I create my prints and anime themed artwork. If you'd like to receive exclusive updates and anime themed goodies every single month delivered straight to you, then why not check out my Patreon? The link's down below. I'm sure you'll love being a part of the Chibi Weeb fan club. Sometimes finding a birthday card or an occasion card can be a boring task. However, I have some anime themed cards on my Thortful.co.uk creator profile, which is found in my links on social media. Over on Thortful, you'll find a bunch of anime themed cards such as Studio Ghibli happy birthday cards and more, with my range being updated regularly. Each card is processed by Thortful.co.uk, with shipping being fast, quick and efficient. You can shop my anime themed cards over on my Instagram, with my links being over on there. Just search Chibi Weeb Anime and you'll find me. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for checking out the podcast. It really does mean a lot. Please do leave a rating and a review down below. It really does support the show and it's free to do. I'll see you next time. I'll see you next Friday. Have a great weekend. If you're a subscriber or if you're thinking of subscribing or starting the free trial on Apple Podcasts, I'll see you on Sunday for the next episode of the Chibi Piece exclusive Apple Podcast exclusive episode on Sunday. Thanks guys. Bye bye.